All right, we're back for another episode with Brian Duprey and Child Care Millionaire. This is episode 3. There's descriptions to episode 1 and 2. If you missed them, you want to go back and watch those too. Had almost an hour with author Brian Duprey of Child Care Millionaire. It was fantastic. We had such a great time together. Today we're going to talk about frugality among millionaires. Guys, we had a fun time with this topic. We also talk about maintaining low debt structure. Very important. And we're going to talk about why real estate is the key, such a great key, especially for Brian, who talks about all in this book on why that's the key to his exit strategy and maybe yours as well.
One of the books of the few that I've listened to, because I got turned on early on, I was in sales and would travel all over the Northwest in sales when I was 20 through 25 years old. And I learned about a thing called books on tape. And actually, we're on a tape back then. And so one of them I listened to was Millionaire Next Door. Millionaire Next Door. And it really inspired me and changed my perspective about money. And it resonated. And nugget 33, frugality is key. And that will resonate with most all true millionaires, especially that would embrace that book. Talk to us about frugality.
Well, The Millionaire Next Door is on this bookshelf behind me. I've read that book as well. And when it said the average millionaire drives a 7-year-old car with 110,000 miles on it, I was like, wow, look at me now. I do have a Jeep, the 2007, so 13 years old, 75,000 miles. So frugality is the key. I live in a 5,000 square foot, 8-bedroom house on a lake, but I do drive an older car. And I do have another new car too, but when I go to the centers, I'm driving the older car. I don't show off what I have worked hard for. But yeah, frugality is the key. I have been very tight with my money. I've been very good up until recently. I'm spending a little bit of it because I'm working on retirement. But throughout the entire building my business, my goal was to build it debt free. And opened 9 schools, never went to a bank to borrow money to build the schools. And I own 4 of my 5 buildings today. And I own a lot of commercial and residential property and never went to a bank to do it. So I built my business, not completely debt free. I did owner financing on a couple of deals, but here I am almost towards retirement. And I only owe a tiny little bit of money on 1 building left. All of my other properties are paid for, and it have to do with being frugal and paying down debt. And I talk about in the book about keep building a business with very low debt structure, because when you get to be an economic collapse right now, or a recession, or COVID, and you're carrying a heavy debt load, you're in trouble. So being frugal in good times helps save you during really tough economic times, which we're in now, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. When we when we got into our first center, my wife and I had filed bankruptcy, both individually 2 years prior. We had $100 to our name, and literally that's what we opened up our account with. And she got a phone call from a previous employer that she worked for in childcare, and said, "You know what? I have an opportunity of a center that we're going to be possibly taking over. Would you be interested in running it as your own? We'll do a contract for you. We'll do a lease for you. We'll help you finance some of your starting equipment." And we opened that account with $100. And we waited 6 months to take our first paycheck, but we negotiated a good lease and a good lease option, because I knew that I felt like the childcare business could provide some great income. But I knew that the money in that real estate was really important for part of our exit strategy. And it was, and we made that successful. And then we did it again with very little financing up front. And I know you've talked about before, I've heard you talk about having, being undercapitalized as a big concern. I mean, we were bootstrapping it. We should have put a GoFundMe page up is what we should have done. But so there's hope for those that have put themselves in a position where someone believes in you. And you talk also, maybe talk about the farm club or the farm team. But if you are preparing yourself for the opportunity to run your own center, those opportunities may come in all different shapes and forms.
Absolutely. And there's a lot there to unpack, but I tell you, And I kind of lost my train of thought there, Kirk. So I have an ADD moment because I was waiting for one more question from you in there. So I apologize. There you go. So you don't have to be too bright to write a book. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I really did unpack a big case there. I guess my comment, and then I'll have a question for you, is, again, prepare yourself, put yourself in the right place. I was told early on that you are where you are based on the decisions you made, no matter where that is in life, whether you're super successful or you're struggling, based on the decisions you've made. Now, we all have the things of chance and luck, but the reality is when those adversity hits us, we are in charge of making our own decisions. And Kim and I have made a lot of decisions to put ourselves in a place where people would believe in us and would invest in us. And so I guess my question is, when that opportunity came to us, one of the things I know that I wanted to do is I wanted to have a hold of that property at some point. So my question is, lease option. How should someone approach a lease option? I know it's in the book. I read it a few times. It came across.
Yeah. So obviously, real estate is key to a long-term exit strategy. And my first 10 or 12 years, I didn't own any property of being a business. And I knew once I sat down and write my exit strategy that I was in the wrong track. So I was able to figure that out. And, if you read chapter 7 of my book, I talk about how I expanded into my line location. So you'll see the process. And Kirk, my first location started with $5,000 that I had to borrow from somebody that I didn't have it. So I'm with you on there. And yeah, we were major undercapitalized. So it goes to show you can build a business. Not the smartest thing to do, but we did it just like you did. We have so many similarities, you and I. I mean, I can't wait to get together and know you a little better. It seems like we've had quite of the same path on in there. But yeah, so owning it. So a lease option to buy, an owner financing is a good deal if you got bad credit. I'd gone through a bankruptcy 25 years ago, Kirk, right before childcare as well. So again, it's one of those things where we had no credit. We couldn't go to a bank. So, we had to work on the owner financing. We had to ask that. And then I realized how cool that was. And I kept doing it. I just kept finding properties that the owner had paid off, and I owner financed them to stay away from the banks. I'm like, I don't need to give bank the money. Somebody's willing to trust me, I'm going to give them the interest money. And it worked out phenomenal. And it helped me with your credit report because you're not throwing all this millions of dollars worth of debt on a credit report, which banks wouldn't like if you ever needed them. So it's been phenomenal. And now I would use owner financing exclusively if I could, because it works so well. And I would turn around and do that to somebody else. I would love to give them an opportunity and buy a building for them and finance that opportunity for other people, because somebody opened the door for me.
Get a hold of Brian Duprey's book, Child Care Millionaire. I'm going to put a link to Amazon in the description below. Click on that. It'll be a phenomenal investment. Thank you for watching this video. What a phenomenal time we had. Thank you again, Brian. Great time. Appreciate you.
Have you not already subscribed? What are you waiting for? Before you go another second, hit that subscribe button down there, hit the bell so you don't miss a single episode of all this great content that we are trying to bring you in our childcare industry. Also, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what your takeaway was, what your aha moment was from this video. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.